Hello, Freeman's here again. Really excited to be here. If you haven't met us before, we are the Freemans.
Okay.
And we are authors, speakers, and social entrepreneurs, but truly the title that we really stand behind is Ambassadors for Partnerships Thriving, physically, financially, and spiritually. We truly believe you can be thriving in all of those areas, and we are excited for 30 days of conscious partnership. Today's topic:
not gossiping about your partner. And maybe initially you're like, well, that seems obvious. So let's talk about what we mean by gossip. And so gossip really is, for one general definition, it's what, would you say this to somebody that's not there, without them being there? Would you say it to another person, right? So would you say something about your partner to a friend, for instance? If they weren't there, would you say that to their face? And it's not like necessarily always negative or derogatory, but really what we want to point to is even in these experiences where, you have an upset, you have like some sort of argument, you have something that came up in between your partnership, it's even voicing that out to, let's say, I say that to a friend of mine, where it puts Jocelyn into any sort of negative light or anything that lessens who she is as a person, as a human being. That's really what gossip is, and that's really what we're coming from at this point.
And I'll tell you, I have been guilty of this in the past, and I didn't really get the negative impact of it until it was brought to my attention. But I think especially, some of us, maybe even females, we need an outlet, right? We want to outflow this energy, outflow maybe what we're frustrated about. And what we do, though, if we aren't conscientious of the difference between gossip and just sharing something, like clearing something out, is I have gossiped in the past where I was speaking poorly something that I was not communicating to my partner. And Aaron's going to dive into that, something that's withheld. That's why it's impactful, because they're not often aware of it, or we're not dealing with the problem with them. And here's one of the biggest things that gossip has done when I've done this or when I observe it, is it damages the listening of the person who's observing, right? So let's say I'm telling my friend Mary, and Mary now has a damaged view, perhaps, of Aaron, or this was in past relationships. And so now and why the listening is so important. Okay, really stick with this, because this is important. Who we all are exists in how people listen to us. If you really pause and get that who you are is how people listen to you, right? People say, oh, you're a leader, or oh, you're so positive, or oh, this and that about you. That's how people listen to you. And when we gossip about someone and the person's not aware of it, there's now this damaged listening. And that person now, imagine going back to Mary. She now has a damaged way she's listening to the partner. And there's a new, let's say it's months later, and there's something new that's come up. Oh no, not this again. And they also will feed into it. Oh yeah, no, he's not nice, he's not, I can't believe he's doing that, or she, again, whichever way this is being done. So they're going to feed into that belief now that you've created for them. And so gossiping is doing that. So what would you say is another damaging aspect of it?
Well, so that was the first point. The second point is that when you go, and even if you're releasing energy, you're sharing something just to circulate new energy, like we like to say, you want to share from a point that's going to be unarguable, right? So if I'm going to share with a friend of mine, I'm going to say, man, what I've been experiencing in Jocelyn and I's relationship is I've been experiencing frustration, or I've been experiencing upset. And I'm not talking about blaming, I'm not talking about why Jocelyn is at the source of my upset. I'm talking about my own frustration, my own experience that my partnership brought up for me to learn in, right? So you want to share your own experience. That's the first part, because part B, 2B, is actually because there's ultimately something that's being withheld. So if I'm out there and I'm actually saying things about Jocelyn, oh man, she really pissed me off because she ate all the bacon and didn't save me any, then what's there, the reason I'm sharing that is because I have withheld that communication. I am withholding what I should be sharing with Jocelyn to get cleaned up, to open up our line of communication. It's communication that should be directed to her for us to get that worked out. But here I am throwing out communication to somebody else that doesn't have anything to do with having our connection be resolved or our integrity get back complete. So it's withheld communication. Notice that if you are sharing, if you're gossiping out there and saying things about your partner, that should be an indication that there's something that you've withheld, whether an experience, a thought, a feeling that actually is meant to be shared with your partner.
And then what I'd also say is that the difference between gossip and sharing is also, how do you feel when you're expressing it? So, for example, we had a friend earlier today, had a disagreement happen with their partner. Now, gossip would sound like, I can't believe she did this, she is bad, she's negative, I'm frustrated, all this negativity about the person. The difference is you can share about something that you're experiencing, like Aaron said. I'm feeling, in this disagreement with her, what I feel is this. How it's expressing yourself rather than putting it all on them and making them sound like they did something bad. So you can still share something. It's important to have friends and a tribe. We talk about that in our book. You've got to have a tribe of people that you can have this outflow with. So we want to make that clear. It isn't about your partner should be everything. There are times I need to talk to someone else besides Aaron about what's happening. But I'm not gossiping. I'm expressing myself and asking for a resolution, not for agreement. I'm not asking for agreement of what's going on.
I mean, sometimes you're not even asking for a resolution. You just want to share something as a way to circulate energy, but it has to be from your own perspective. It's not about blaming somebody else. It's sharing your own experience.
Yes. So third and final point about gossip that we want to make is that besides the two things we already talked about, when you are gossiping about someone, you are also, by the words you're speaking, because we've talked about in other times of talking with you all about the power of words and how there's energy behind that, you are perpetuating the issue or what's coming up. And we were talking about this with a friend of ours again this morning. There's a difference between sharing about something to circulate the energy and talking about it and making it more real. You know those times when you're telling a story and it gets even more and more real for you and you have more evidence for it and you find yourself almost, righteous, or when you are gossiping, you're making it have more power. And so what if you could share it, circulate that energy and say, well, now what I'm committed to is, if you end with what you're frustrated about or the problem, you'll get more of that. But when you end with, I've expressed myself, I'm circulating this energy, and now what I'm committed to is this, you're now creating a new sort of future you can live into. You're creating a new clearing. You can move into that. And so gossip is where you're just kind of wanting to stay in that energy versus sharing and circulating and now creating something new. Anything else you'd add to it?
That's it.
So gossip, eliminate it. Partnership does not include gossip. And again, we're the Freemans. We're out to impact marriages, partnerships, the dating experience, reminding people of how powerful this union can be. And gossip is not included. It's only damaging. Let's speak as much as possible with love and contribution and connection. We're the Freemans. Stay connected. Please like this page. Stay connected to the community. We love you all. Have a good one.